Hello folks, this is old Tumbleweed coming to you from downtown Gibsonton, Showtown, USA. This video is number 10, but number 9 of my life. I made another video here the last time we did this and kind of told you about the town and stuff, but this is number 9 of my life. And if those of you who following this, remember I went out to Broken Bow with an old 36 Chevrolet Coupe and got out there and got a job on a ranch, and boy, that was quite a job. I mean, I had never rode a horse in my life, never roped a cow in my life, but you know, if you practice and practice and practice, which I did every day, I got pretty darn good at it. I'm a pretty good roper, even today. Well, I got a bad shoulder now, so I may not be able to rope, but anyway, I got out there, and it put me out there in the middle of the sand hills in Nebraska. Now the sand hills, there's not too many trees, just nothing but just rolling hills of just prairie grass. You can imagine what it must have been like back in the days of the Indians when the buffalo roamed out there, tens of thousands of them on them prairies. And you know, I remember being out there, and it's kind of like being in the middle of the ocean. I've been in the middle of the ocean, or the bay and the Gulf and all that, and you know the waves, you know, they kind of go up and down. Well, that's kind of like the sand hills are. They're like waves. You get in the bottom of them canyons, you get lost. I mean, you really got to know your directions. You got to get on top of a big hill and look around. Well, you don't see nothing. It's really quite a place. And I think what happened to me out there was I learned my sense of direction. Because my direction in life, I could step out and tell you what's north, what's south, what's east, what's west, just by being in the outside. I never had any problem. Well, I have been lost a couple of times now, I think about it, but not too many. But anyway, I believe that came from being out there in the west, riding them hills. Well, I didn't know how to ride a horse, but anyway, I learned pretty quick. My job was every day, we had to get up. There was 2 of us on the ranch, and we had a little milk cow out there that we had to learn to milk every other day. You had to milk this cow. Now every day the cow had to be milked, but one day I milked it, and old Corky Parker he did it the next day. His name was Corky. So they would give us a bag of salt and a hammer. It was a special hammer. It was a fence pliers, and our job was to ride fence line and check for. Actually, it was sulfur. A bag of sulfur they would give you, and then you'd get on this horse and you had to ride out in this prairie all day and ride the fence line and check for a broken fence. And for pink eye, the cattle had the little babies, you know, they were born out there. They had pink eye. You had to go out there and you had to literally rope the calf and then try to get him down, and then look at his eyes, and then if you had pink eye, you had to throw that sulfur in his eyes. So it was quite an experience. I mean, I didn't last long enough to do the branding. They round them up, but I only worked a couple of months because I didn't make a lot of money, but they paid us. I mean, they fed us good. They fed us a big supper and they fed us a big breakfast, and then during they would give you a biscuit or something to take out there. And anyway, you just went out and rode every day. I mean, every other day you'd ride. I mean, every day we would ride, and you had to go out and look for cattle in the ravines and count the cattle. Now, I asked the owner of the ranch one time, the old boy that was owning the ranch, I said, how many cows you got out there? He said, well, I got somewhere around 10,000. I said, what do you mean around? He said, well, I don't know how many I got. He said, you know, could have 9,000, could have 12,000. Just imagine being that big of a ranch and not knowing how many cows you actually got. But anyway, there was a lot of prairie dog towns out there. Little prairie dogs, you know, if you ever seen one of them, a little cute little thing, little puppy dog like. But they make holes all over the prairie out there. I mean, they got towns. They call them prairie dog towns. There might be 100 little prairie dogs running around out there. Well, anyway, I had this old horse, and he was kind of uncontrollable. In other words, they had let him go out there, and then they had caught him and brought him in for me to ride. I'm young buck. They're going to let me ride this horse. It took me a few days to get on this horse. Now, I rode it, threw it off, rode it, and bucked off, rode it, and got bucked off, and rode it. Finally, after about a week, that's your horse, Don, go ahead. So I finally got on him, and he really didn't like me too well. He didn't like anybody, actually. But anyway, so on Saturday night, we usually went to town, Broken Bow. Now, even though I was only 16 years old, they didn't really care. We went to town, you know, went around town. Every cowboy in the area went to town on Saturday night. I got me a brand new cowboy hat. Boy, I was cool, let me tell you. So I'm out there riding, and they were starting to, and we went out there in the prairie, and we were starting to round these cows up, put them in these pens. Now they had these pens about every 4 or 5 miles, I guess, and we had a pen, and we'd go out there and round all these cows up, bring them back to this pen, put them in these pens. And after they got so many in the pen, like, I don't know, maybe a truckload, whatever a truckload is, 30, 40 cows, they would go to the next pen. He must have had several pens all over out there. Anyway, it started to raining real bad. Boy, my new cowboy hat. Oh, hell, I said, wow. All of a sudden, the lightning struck, the thunder roared, and that damn horse, boy, he took off. He took off. I mean, he's a-going. I couldn't pull him back. I remember coming up on this prairie dog town, and that horse did not step in one hole. I looked down and my brand new hat fell off, and I couldn't stop this horse. He headed straight for that corral. And I'll never forget this. How he ever got across them prairie dog towns, I don't know, but he never hit a hole. He run up there to that fence, and when he got to that old barn fence, that old wooden fence, he just stopped. Now, there's nobody could stay on that horse. That horse, I flew off that horse and hit the ground and busted my damn collarbone. God. Well, you know, we're 10, 18, 20 miles in the country out there. We're way out in the middle of Sandhill. So, man, I come up aching. I mean, I could not move my shoulder. My collarbone was busted. So the only closest doctor there was the old horse doctor. And they came out there with a pickup, took a slicker and put it around my shoulder, you know, and pulled me up real tight and tied on her, threw me in the back of the pickup. Took me and rode across that prairie in an old pickup to that damn horse doctor. When I got there, he said, you broke the collarbone. Look at it all sticking up right there, you know. He said, nothing you can do about it. He said, I'll just tape you up. He says, all you can do. He said, I'll tape you up. So he taped me up. Took damn big old wide tape. He just taped me up. Taped me up. Boy, I'm all taped up. Well, I'm done now. I can't ride. So, can't work. So I guess my brother took me back down to Hastings, or down to Air with my folks, where I could stay out there in the old shed, healing up. And I went to, after about a month, that tape got to feeling pretty bad, and it cut me real bad. I got a big scar on my back about that long where that tape cut into me at. Anyway, it took me a while, but it kind of stopped me from being in the cowboy business anymore. I couldn't ride, and it took me 40 years to get over that break. My collarbone hurt me for 40 years, and it still hurts today just thinking about it. Any of you guys that had a collarbone break, you know, I mean, all these cowboys, they get thrown off them horses all the time. They get their legs broke, you know, they get their ribs broke, but you got a collarbone broke, you're in bad shape. But anyway, so that kind of ruined me. Well, that's about the last cowboy days that I had. And that was about 1960. I was 16. So I had some money coming from the ranch. And I went out there after I got healed up. About a month went by. I could ride. And I went down to the Ford garage in Blue Hill, Nebraska, and somehow I bought a '55 Ford with a straight stick and overdrive. Man, what a car! What a beautiful car, baby blue. And I drove it out there to Broken Bow, and boy, was I proud. I was really proud. I had this new car. Well, it was a new car for me. And that car went 100 miles an hour. I ain't never been on a car going that fast again. But I remember that old car just go out across that prairie, you know. There wasn't no speed limit back then. Drive at your own risk. And so I got out there. I went out to the ranch, picked up money, and I told Corky, I says, man, I'm coming back to work as soon as I get a little better. But I said, we ought to go to Florida. You want to come to Florida with me? I said, let's go on down there and check out the beaches. Well, I used to live down there, you know. I said, we'll go. He said, yeah, I'd love to go. So we collected his money and we took off. And we took off to down to Florida. We got down here. We finally got down here somehow. Gas was 16.9 cents a gallon. And there wasn't no interstate. It was all back roads. And I guess the year was it was the fall of 1960. So we come on down here to Florida and went down there to Sarasota, driving around. She told me I had to cut it short. Anyway, so now the next video is going to be about my stay in Sarasota and what happened down there, because I used to live down there. Remember that, before I got shipped to Mariana. So that's quite a story. So you folks stick around and try to catch me on the next video if you like this one. And don't forget, if you like it, hit the like button over there. Maybe subscribe to my channel. And we'll see you all again. This is Old Tumbleweed coming to you from downtown Gibsonton, Showtown, USA. So long.